What's up, my people? My name is Paulo Rubio, aka GN, and welcome to another episode of the FMA Dumpster Fire podcast. Today, I have another open letter. I hope you guys like these. This is all about why I welcome FMA McDojos. You'll have to hear me out. Filipino martial arts is undergoing a free market metamorphosis. Its value as a martial art of real utility is being detached from stories of past performance and being adopted in ways that make more sense to a broader group of people for reasons other than culture. The cultural element can never be removed. Remember this, it is safe. Now, the value of FMA for those who have little to no interest in its cultural identity can begin to fully realize its multi-layered value outside of it. In very much the same way that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu took ownership over the value of Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, specifically for the context of the combat sports arena, today we can see that this separation serves both the new way and the old way. FMA can have the same. I welcome the idea of Brazilian Kali. I would love to see German Eskrima or French Arnis. I would like to see these things becoming its own thing. I'm not talking about French people doing Arnis or Brazilian people doing Kali. I'm talking about Brazilian Kali. I'm talking about German Eskrima as its own thing. This separation should not be seen as some kind of insult to its Filipino heritage. Rather, it should be viewed as the kind of evolution that will honor the past, if not immediately, eventually. It has no choice. Now, undoubtedly, there will be detractors and critics. Let them be. Hear them out and move forward. It is natural that we see this kind of resistance as we move forward with this crazy new idea that FMA belongs to the world now. No longer the sole domain of the Philippines as being the only source of value in its teachings, but rather a critical part of it. A deep connection that can never be severed. Any resistance to separation, I will always see as a kind of insecurity. It is never easy to forfeit absolute control, even if it is for the benefit of everyone. Now, there will be gatekeepers that will undermine this evolution and propose a diminished sense of value for this new thing. Let me say this. No one owns Pikiti Tersha Kali, and yet we can honor its origins. No one owns Balintawak Arnis, Sarada Eskrima, or Doce Pares. But we can honor their origins. In fact, we should. In the short term, we risk a kind of dilution that has plagued all other martial arts during their phases of free market metamorphosis or rapid growth and expansion. FMA McDojos may be created. Arguably, we have many of those already anyway. Now, in the short term, we will see volatility, endless streams of forum disagreements, YouTube videos calling each other out for being less authentic, less effective, less this, not enough that. I say accept the inevitable byproducts of growth and look forward to the benefits that far outweigh these temporary discomforts or unease about the state of FMA. The FMA ambassadors and luminaries that have come before us had this vision all along. They spread the art even at the expense of being alienated by their so-called original founders, their original masters, or their original sources. Did Bruce Lee not do the same thing as the FMA legends we hold dear to our hearts? Did they not too face harsh criticism from the gatekeepers of FMA during their time in the same way that the gatekeepers of Wing Chun and Kung Fu criticized and vilified Bruce Lee? But did these gatekeepers succeed? No. They were all systematically decimated by the unstoppable wave of adoption and transformation that we are seeing with FMA today. Now, even though sometimes I may talk like it, I am no authority in FMA. I am no authority in martial arts. I may be just some guy on the internet with strong opinions about who ought to manage the growth of FMA, but I need not be an authority to propose that FMA is subject to the same unstoppable forces of adoption and inevitable evolution of every other martial art, or of anything worth adopting. I am simply saying that we all have this power. It isn't in the hands of a figurehead, system founder, lineage keeper, heir, or any other individual or governing body who want to propose their authority over us. They are meaningful, but they are powerless. The power and control belong to us. Their power is symbolic. Our power is real. And at the risk of sounding cliche, this kind of power ought to be balanced with a profound sense of responsibility. And on a personal note, if you wish to do so, keep a pulse on what I'm doing, because I'm trying my best to be demonstrably authentic in what I propose. I step out of my comfort zones. I evolve my personal practice. I honor the past, and I revel in the infinite creative canvas that FMA practice provides me. I intake all sources of information, and I integrate what is appropriate to me. And if we all did the same, and the gatekeepers of history and culture did their thing, together we can look forward to a very, very bright future for our beloved art. Sincerely, Grand Master Paulo Rubio, self-appointed, no authority to anyone other than myself. So there you have it. I hope I didn't hurt too many feelings out there. These are my opinions. I hope to spread my opinions in the way that I like to express myself. Sometimes the more successful I become in executing on my vision to spread FMA far and wide, and the more people try to attach themselves to my journey, it seems that the frequency of people wanting to change my tone or change my methods or infuse their sensibility into my way of doing things has increased. And I welcome input. I really do. I reflect on these things. But too often people want me to change my tone. People want me to say things nicer, things like that. But the fact of the matter is, what I do and the way I do it incites dialogue and conversation. My intention is never to cause harm. Now, I may hurt feelings, but that is only a byproduct of my self-expression and a byproduct of my love for the Filipino martial arts. So if your feelings are hurt by any of this, unless I know you personally, I really don't care. I really don't care, because I believe in my vision and in the way in which I spread the Filipino martial arts. And even if your feelings are hurt, even if you don't like me, even if you don't appreciate my tone, if you're an FMA instructor, if you run an FMA business, my actions and my executions will inevitably, if it hasn't already, benefit you. So you're welcome. But I really don't do it specifically for you. I do it for everyone. I do it. I've received message from people in the Philippines who ask me who they should train with because they cannot find it where they live. Now, what does that say to you? What does that say about the job that you're doing in your local area if you're the guy that I know that guy is seeking out? I'm in Canada, and I'm going to recommend someone in Quezon City, an FMA instructor that I know who happens to be in Quezon City, right? So if you want to have an opinion about how I express myself, I'm going to have an opinion about how you express yourself, and we can have a dialogue about that. But at the end of the day, my intention is to spread the Filipino martial arts far and wide to as many people as possible. And if that means that I dilute my presentation of cultural representation of FMA, I'm okay with that. Personally, I don't think I'm qualified anyway, and there are too many foreigners out there who propose to infuse culture in their FMA teachings. Bruh, get real. What you may have is cultural knowledge based on what was taught to you by your instructor, who by most accounts used to live in the Philippines. So let's just get real with it, okay? If you have criticisms about the way I present myself or the way I present others, please leave me a comment below. I promise I won't be offended. Just come correct with a bit of respect, and I will reciprocate. I promise you that. And we will continue this dialogue, all for the benefit of this thing that we have in common. So the differences that we may have should pale in comparison to our intentions if we really love the Filipino martial arts as much as we propose that we do. So I'm out here being demonstrative of that. I got a certain set of skills that I could be applying to other industries where I could be pretty fucking rich. And yet here I am talking about dudes swinging sticks and knives. Why? It ain't making me any more money, that's for sure. Maybe a little bit for my ego. Maybe. I'll admit to that. It feels good. It feels good to be heard. And in that way, maybe if you're not being heard, I can see why I can be offensive to you. But again, not my fault, not my plan. That is a byproduct of me doing my own thing and executing on my vision. So once again, if you don't like that, that's cool. But what I don't appreciate are people who pretend to like what I do or like who I am insofar as they agree with me. And the moment we come to a crossroads where there's a disagreement, all of a sudden I'm vilified. Well, what can I say to those people? Fuck off. I don't need you to do this thing. Okay? I don't need you. I don't need any one individual to do this thing. If I have to do this on my own, I will. Luckily, there's enough people who believe in my processes and the way that I do things despite my admitted flaws and shortcomings. And sometimes those things are tone. I can be emotional sometimes, but I'm passionate. So deal with it. We'll leave it at that. But hey, despite our disagreements, despite our clashes online, I want you to know that if you're watching this, that if you hit that like button, that if you hit that subscribe button, that if you hit that notification bell, or if you choose to comment and degrade me and insult me and hit that thumbs down button, I want you to know, I still appreciate it because you are still helping me execute on my vision because of this engagement, because my channel gets to experience growth, and because of that, I get to spread my message to more people. So go ahead and express whatever you need to express. And if you want to support me, I very much appreciate that. But even if you didn't, when you engage with me, you are supporting me. So thank you very much. And I hope that we are united enough in our common goal and our common purpose that these slight forks in the road are just a moment in time, and at some point we will meet once again at another crossroads. And there we can clash sticks, we can share drinks, we can shake hands, or we can ignore each other. Until the next crossroad, my name is Paulo GN Rubio. This has been another episode of the FMA Dumpster Fire Podcast. I'd like to thank you for your time once again.